The highly anticipated Jake Paul vs. Nate Diaz fight is only a few weeks away, and more training footage has been getting released from the pair. There's still a complete split online as to who people think will win. Will Jake Paul continue his boxing success, having defeated every UFC opponent he has faced thus far? Stick around till the end for all the key details. After a recent sparring match with world title contender Esquiva Falcao, Nate Diaz's boxing prowess has come under scrutiny. Last month, Diaz sparred with Falcao, and the video of the match has received mixed reviews from fans. Falcao stated that he was easy on Diaz, despite Chris Avila, the UFC legend's training partner, saying that Diaz effed him up. Falcao evaluated Nate Diaz's boxing abilities in the following video, which he posted on social media. "At first I thought he was tired, and in the end it looked like he was dying," Falcao said. "His fighting style is crazy. You look at him and say, oh, he's tired, and then we started sparring. Coach Robert Garcia told me in the second round he's tired already. Hold back a little bit and keep the rhythm so he does at least 10 rounds. Esquiva Falcao followed by stating, "I held back and kept boxing, and we did 12 rounds. He was tired but taking punches and throwing too. He is bad. He is bad, but since he's too heavy, he's overweight, probably around 220 pounds or more. And I'm the only big guy in the gym. I had to do it, but I like doing it." Not exactly what you want to hear as a fight fan, especially if you're Nate Diaz, and this guy stated all this literally in his face, but in another language so he couldn't understand. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification bell. This way you'll never miss out on any future celebrity videos similar to these. A lot of fans took offense to Esquiva Falcao's post on Diaz, as the comment section was full of stuff like "phony as hell, all smiles," and then walks away talking shit in front of Nate, knowing he doesn't understand the language to even say anything back. Cowardly, even if you were wearing him out in sparring. If he talked reckless to where Nate understood he would get taken down and strangled or get an arm broken in a hurry. You may beat him in a boxing match, but Nate could legit end your career in a real fight, if not your life. Terrible look to do what you did. We all know time is catching up to Nate just from the last fight with Tony Ferguson, but he has earned a place of respect among anyone in combat sports with decades of hard work, great fights, and displays of courage. Delete that video, champ. It's never too late to correct the mistakes done and said. Like we touched on earlier, as soon as people began to translate what he said, Nate Diaz's teammate Chris Avila came out and stated that Nate effed him up in sparring, which I highly doubt, but you can see why he said that. Dallas will host the actual bout, and it is obvious that Paul has a great deal to prove after losing to Tommy Fury in his most recent boxing contest. "Man, I have the biggest chip on my shoulder. The biggest chip on both shoulders," Jake told TMZ Sports. "Coming back with vengeance, refilled with that hunger that I had in the beginning of the sport to prove to people what I was capable of. The lion lost. I've retreated back into the jungle. I took notes of everything. I got better, I trained, and now this lion is going to come out and maul this dude. And he's going to have to pay. He's going to have to pay for all this hard work, all this sacrifice I've made in this camp." Jake also stated that he will 100% knock Diaz out during the fight, although he stopped short of stating in which round he will succeed in doing so. Before we go any further into the video, how do you guys actually see this fight playing out? Is it likely Jake Paul will KO Diaz, or will the combat sports experience of Diaz over the past decade make him the favorite? Comment below. A few days ago, some new sparring footage of Nate Diaz got released, which has caught the attention of fans worldwide.
Nate Diaz é o de branco. O atleta de camisa preta, luva preta, ele é ruim, nunca lutou. Nem amador, nem profissional. Hoje ele...
Nate Diaz's style is very unique, and if anything will be tricky for Jake, it's because he's up against someone that is very unorthodox, and simply boxing him might not be the end result. It could easily be more of a scrap and close clinch exchanges than anything. He does appear to be walking the guy down in the sparring footage, although who knows how deep they're into the rounds, because one thing is for certain, somehow after all the amounts of damage Nate's lungs have taken from the devil's lettuce, his cardio remains his strongest asset to this day. Once this footage got released and picked up some traction, many fans had their mixed opinions, with posts like, "I hope more than anything that Nate beats Jake, but I just don't see it happening. I'm praying for a miracle though." Nate's insane cardio, fight IQ, and time in fights with real top-of-the-line guys his whole career, never being knocked out, his striking ability, etc. This is going to be Nate's toughest fight yet, because Nate isn't afraid to take a few shots to give and land a ton in return. Actually looking forward to a Jake Paul fight for once. The longer this fight goes, the worse it's going to be for Jake in this one, with Nate as his opponent. Y'all are really underestimating how well Diaz weaponizes his gas tank and chin. Robert Garcia, the coach of the gym Nate Diaz has recently been training at, came out and spoke on how Nate is really looking in sparring, and it may surprise a lot of you.
And he came in and did some good sparring, man. I was actually surprised. I think he's going to do pretty good in the fight because he's in great shape. At first, the first few rounds, I thought he was gonna get tired because it's totally different when you're sparring world-class fighters to MMA fighters or just amateur fighters, and you come to a gym where you're fighting world-class fighters. And he was able to do 12 rounds of sparring with world-class fighters.
The fact he has come out and stated that he isn't overweight and was hanging in there for 12 rounds with his top-tier fighters goes to show how much BS can be spread online. I believe the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz fight is 10 rounds, which got changed from 8, which won't be a problem at all for Nate Diaz. It'll be interesting to see if Jake Paul is going out there to end it as early as possible and look for that KO, or if he will outbox Nate the entire fight to show the levels between the pair. Next up, we'll check out some of Jake Paul's most recent sparring, and it's clear, regardless of the opponent and what people think, he always puts insane amounts of work and time into each camp. The main reason I believe Jake Paul will have the upper hand on Nate and will beat him convincingly is due to Jake beating Anderson Silva, and he even dropped him onto the canvas in the last few rounds. As most of you would know, Anderson Silva beat Chavez Jr., and if you put Silva and Nate in a boxing ring now, it's pretty obvious Anderson Silva would win. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to Loaf for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.